Hey everyone, this is Jesse with Nintendo Revised, and I'm coming to you with another video, and this time we are doing a video of my test of Signalis. This video is being recorded on my Nintendo Switch OLED docked, but I would like to go ahead and get out of the way. During my test, I only tested this specifically on handheld mode, did not do any testing in docked. Additionally, I will only be recording the first portion of the game just to avoid any spoilers. Any footage that you're seeing here is being recorded directly from my Nintendo Switch, and it will only be of the first portion of the game. So, for this test, we have version 1.0 on the cartridge. It is revision 000 on the back of the cart. Now, at the time of testing, there is a patch that is currently available to version 1.3. Now, this test was done without any patches being downloaded, of course, only specifically running it directly from the cartridge from version 1.0. For this test, I did complete the main campaign, which includes beating all 3 chapters and obtaining one of the main endings. Now, I want to go ahead and specify why I'm saying one of the main endings. There actually appears to be 3 possible main endings available. Now, I did not attempt to get any of the other 2 endings at this time because the requirements are extremely specific. I believe it would actually take too much time to try to obtain these opposing endings, and it would probably or likely take several playthroughs to make it even possible. I decided to just stick with the one ending. The ending that I was able to obtain is called Memory. Additionally, there's actually a secret ending that I also did not attempt to obtain at this time. Now, this secret ending requires the player to beat the game at least once, which of course I did actually do here. But it would also require at least an entire second playthrough. I believe that this particular ending is plausible to obtain, but for the sake of time I decided to skip it for now, just so that I can put out this testing as quickly as possible. But I may attempt to do this at a later time. So essentially for this test, I just completed the main campaign, beating all 3 chapters that are included within the game and obtaining the memory ending. Now, during this test, I did notice a few minor issues, nothing really major, but here are some of the issues that I did encounter. One of the main and most consistent issues that I notice is minor stutter. Now, this stutter occurs while walking and running around. Sometimes it appears that the character is actually stuttering, and sometimes it appears that the background stutters. Now, these stutters are very minor, they're not very pronounced at all. I personally got used to it, although I did notice them pretty much the entire run through of this game. It's not horrible by any means, just a slight inconvenience. Nonetheless, it was worth actually mentioning. Another slightly consistent issue that occurs is related to interactions. Now, this one specifically did cause some frustration. The player can actually interact with many items and doors around the world. Now, just to kind of set this game up a little bit, this game plays very similar to, say, a old school Resident Evil. So the player will be walking around, going through multiple doors and picking up various items. Things like weapons, healing items, etc. Now, when attempting to walk through these doors or pick up items, the character sometimes would not pick up the item that I was trying to pick up and would not go through the door that I was trying to go through. This means that I would have to click the button multiple times in order for the character to actually react with the specific interaction that I was wanting to do. Also, some items or doors require a very specific positioning in order for the character to interact with it. This was a slight annoyance, as I mentioned earlier, and it could even lead to death if there are actually enemies in the room with you. Honestly, my best advice to deal with this specific issue is to save as often as possible at the nearest safe location, just in case. Again, it did cause a slight annoyance. Nothing major, I was still able to beat the game pretty easily, but it's worth mentioning here. Another issue I noticed occurred during later portions of the game, so this is not actually something that I noticed towards the beginning, more towards the 3rd chapter of this game. The issue is specifically related to doors. In some cases, though rare, I would try to go through a door into another room, and the character would get stuck in the door. Now, within a few seconds, the character would reappear in the room as expected, So this did not cause any restarts or deaths of any kind. It was just a very minor glitch, so to speak, that doesn't really cause any issues. And the last issue that I encountered is actually related to the shooting mechanic. Now, while the shooting is actually serviceable, in my opinion, it's just not that very good. To be honest, a lot of the times I would just try to avoid enemies by walking around them, and I just wouldn't shoot unless it was absolutely necessary. Now, I really actually enjoyed this game, and for any Resident Evil fans out there, this one really does come highly recommended from me. Just because I mentioned some of these issues previously does not mean that this game is not worth trying from the cartridge. It isn't perfect by any means, like we discussed. It has very minor issues, but nonetheless, I had a fantastic time. I really enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun. So I really recommend it. The languages that are listed on this particular cartridge are as follows. We have English, German, French, Spanish, Korean, Japanese, Chinese, and Russian. There are difficulty options. You can choose from casual, normal, and survival. There are no accessibility options, and I was not able to find any DRM at this time. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, I did play this in handheld mode on my Nintendo Switch OLED. And that is the conclusion of my test of Signalis. Really comes highly recommended for me, though it does have some issues, but still a great game nonetheless. I do appreciate everyone that watches these videos. Please like and subscribe, and please leave a comment below if you have any questions or concerns, and I will see you guys on the next one. Nintendo Revise, Jesse, out.